I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're venturing into the heart of America's westward expansion with Vee Daniels. She is the visionary author behind a remarkable book that is called The Seeds of Graceton. This final installment of the Graceton Trilogy transports readers to early Fargo, North Dakota, where homesteaders cling to their dreams of founding a village amidst trials of heartbreak, hope, and resilience. Join us as we delve into the stories of 7 families and their journey through hardship and love, culminating in a tale that captures the essence of community and perseverance. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Brookside Press for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful and inspiring book. The links are below this interview. Vee, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me, Logan.
This is such a cool story that the Seeds of Graceton started with a simple question from your daughter and led to a 25-year-long journey. Tell us a little bit about how this journey unfolded and how it influenced the trilogy you created.
Actually, it was a family project where each of us adopted a state that we hadn't heard much about, and I chose North Dakota. And it was kind of like a proof of life kind of project thing. And I did the best thing ever, and I pulled out my old atlas, and I contacted the postmaster of one of the smallest towns I could find. And she sent me a centennial booklet of this little town. And I won't name the name of the town, but this is the book. This is what they sent me, 1882, 1982. And I just was recovering from surgery at the time. And I was just wondering, well, who are these people and why are they here and how they got there? And I decided that I would try to figure it out. This story is not based on that town. It's based on my imagination, I guess. I was just trying to figure it out.
So you had questions about the characters and the people that lived in this tiny little town in North Dakota. And you said to yourself, I wonder if it was like this. I wonder if it was like that, and kind of piece together a story.
Actually, and this sounds strange, but I tried to do an outline at first, but the characters just took over the story. And I felt like they were working through me to tell their story. So it was kind of when I told people about it, it just seems like that's weird. That's a weird way of telling a story.
Right.
But they just took over and they were telling me the story, and it worked. Awesome. At the end, I had at the trilogy, the end of it, Graceton, I did have to decide, okay, this is it. We're done here.
Exactly. So let's go through the names of the 3 books. They are The Seeds of Graceton.
That's the first one.
And then?
The Flowers of Graceton. And then Graceton.
Gotcha.
It wasn't meant to be a trilogy.
Right.
But the first book, it just got too big. And my friends and people who knew I was writing a book were asking me, when are you done with this? No, I'm not, but here's the seeds. And I started The Flowers of Graceton, and I realized that story wasn't done either. So it was never meant to be a trilogy, but
it is. It's a kind of life of its own.
Yes.
Like a lot of projects do. Well, that's great. Let's give the folks at home an overview. What is The Seeds of Graceton about?
Okay. It's about a group of people who made their way to early Fargo and the homesteaders around in that area, the Red River Valley area. And The Seeds starts out with the main character, and he's actually in Norway. And so there's that family, and then there's one of the characters who had to leave where she was, and she didn't mean to end up there, but she ended up there. And then there were other stories of people that just left their homes and just wanted a new place to be. When they got there, they realized that they needed to have their own place, so their own town. So that's
That's the genesis of it all. Yeah,
yes,
that sounds
yes.
great. And now it reminds me of that song. Well, remember the Red River Valley. Do do do. Right?
It's amazing the research that I collected to have the story and to make it as real as possible,
Yeah.
because of course none of us lived back then. So I
Right.
did a lot of research on how there were some things that I could not find.
Right.
So I kind of, leave it to the
Fudged it a little bit, or
imagination.
made an educational guess, a
Yes,
hypothesis, as we like to say.
yes,
That's the liberty of being a fictional writer. That's why fiction can be more interesting than fact or nonfiction at times, because you get to fill in the gaps, which is
yes,
great
yes,
as well.
yes.
Have you envisioned this perhaps as an epic TV series or a series of films?
I have been contacted by
Okay,
people who want to make this into a movie or series. So
great.
I've considered it,
Yeah. See what
and I
happens, if it winds up in Christopher Nolan's hands and he gives you a ring and says, "Hey, we want to turn this into a series of films." Why not? Every
yes,
great movie begins with a great story, and you've crafted a great story. So,
thank you.
yeah, absolutely. So, when you were writing the book, did you give it off to someone chapter by chapter? Did you wait till you were completely done? Who was your first reader?
Completely, I kept it to myself
Mhm.
the whole way. Well, the seeds, of course, I had to, let other people read it after I finished it.
Right,
I was very secretive and very private, so I didn't let anybody read it in advance. Um, I did have a friend who was typing it for a while, and then I ended up doing the whole thing
yeah.
myself. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. What's a time frame? How long were you working? You said typing, so I'm not assuming typewriters. Hopefully you're still on the computer. How long you been working on the book?
I actually, it's funny, I have to go from head to hand. So I actually hand wrote the whole
That's
thing.
fine. A lot of writers do. They actually find
Yeah.
the idea of typing too cumbersome because they get caught up in the mechanics when you can just write.
That's Thank you, because
Yeah.
I thought it was just me, but
Yeah.
yeah, because if I was typing it, I would be focusing on errors and oh shoot, I meant to do a G and I typed an H. So
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I had a better time just writing it out.
Exactly. I even like talk to text sometimes when I'm writing now. Just like speak it, because
Yeah,
I can speak it and think it a lot faster than I can write it. And if the words are coming to you and the story's coming to you, you want it to happen, and you can always go back, dump it in the word processor and
that's right.
jazz it up later, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So your daughter, was it your daughter who initially did the challenge of we all need to take on a state?
Actually, we were proving to her that there was life in Wyoming. And then
Okay.
that's when we decided, because we hadn't heard much about Wyoming, North Dakota, and Montana, and
Right.
Oregon was the fourth one. And I think I came up with the idea, why don't we each adopt a state?
Right.
So, and
Gotcha.
so I think I came up with the idea. But if it wasn't for her asking about Wyoming, I wouldn't have had a book.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. How did it feel writing the last sentence or the last few words in Graceton, the final of the trilogy?
I had mixed feelings about that
Mhm.
because um, this was a 25-year effort.
Right.
So it took me 25 years because full-time community service and
Hmm.
a, a house with
Yeah.
family.
I mean, life
And
gets in the
so it
way.
took me 25 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was sad to, I mean, this is 25 years
Right.
of me doing this, and all of a sudden I'm done, you know.
Right.
But I had mixed
Exactly.
feelings. So I'm going, okay, I'm kicking these people out of my head now.
Right.
They can, go
Right. You
away.
can't think of what's next for this one, what's next for that one, what if this happened, all of that.
Yeah.
So it's basically like losing a hobby or losing a
Yes.
part of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And like I said, they were in my head for 25 years. And the way I ended it, I'm kind of like, well, there is more if I want to tell more, but I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. you know.
What about a completely different story? Are you working on anything new?
People ask, and my standard answer is that I'm thinking, but it certainly is not going to be a trilogy. So
Maybe a short
um,
story this time.
I'm constantly writing. So I
Right.
have like short stories, and I have a memoir um, where I tell. It's not like A B C D. I have a
Right.
memoir with certain categories of
Right.
stories through my life. So you can open up to any page and read a story. It doesn't have to be, from 19 when I was
Right.
born to, you know.
It's just basically a series of stories that pertain to your life, as
Yes.
opposed to I was born in
Yes, it's not a biography,
1990 and
autobiography.
see,
Yes.
I gave you a good
Yeah.
year to be born in. There we
Oh,
go. Well, you did a great job on this book, The
thank
Seeds
you.
of Graceton. It is the first in a trilogy written by Vee Daniels. The other books are called The Flowers of Graceton, and the final installment is simply called Graceton. And these families, these characters in this book who are homesteaders in the great American Western expansion will live in your heart and in your head, much in the way that they did for Vee as well. It's a great story. It's an epic
Thank you.
story. You will love it. Vee, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Great time talking to you today and to the folks at home. I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.